So this is J.League Virtual Stadium for the 3DO from 1994. I have a weird morbid curiosity with the 3DO. Like, it's a bad console, it's a bad system, and it has a lot of bad games. Some of them almost fit into a legendary status of bad. My first introduction with the 3DO, as I'm sure many people were, was with the angry video gamer nerd way back when, who did his section. Actually, was it on the 3DO? I know he did the Philips CDI. Did he do one on the 3DO? Ooh, I don't remember now. He must have done. Well, I know he would have done Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. But was that whole 3DO section? I don't remember. Anyway, really bad console. Cost like 700 quid at launch. Didn't last that long. Very small library of games. But I find it a really fascinating console because of the way it does certain things with its presentation. And for like a console from 1994, it's got this, it's a CD based console, and so it's really going for this like multimedia approach to the way it presents certain things. Now, most of that did not translate to the actual gameplay, but for shit like the menus and like the music, for 1994, this is pretty revolutionary. Obviously, it's aged horrendously, and like the FMV sequences are trash in 2024. But there's still something really interesting about the 3DO and the Philips CDI and that era of CD-based consoles, which were, I mean, what, the PlayStation, the original PlayStation was like 94, 95, I don't remember the exact year. But this kind of does feel like the forefather or the godfather to what would become, CD-based consoles, for better and very much for worse. With all that said, so this is J.League Virtual Stadium. There's like 1,000 J.League games, and I don't know a thing about them. I know this one is published by EA. I think this is a Japanese exclusive. I might be wrong on that. I mean, it is J.League, so that would make sense. What's going to be interesting about this is I couldn't tell you what a 3DO controller mapping looks like off the top of my head. So, trying to kind of map in real time what the controller configuration on the Xbox controller looks like. Let's find out, I guess. Okay, definitely Japanese exclusive. And this is a bunch of flags for... They could be like Japanese clubs, but I can't tell you. So, the way we're going to do this is go with which one I like the look of the most. I do like the orange of Spulse, I want to say. And I do like the deer kind of stag head, which is actually kind of reminiscent of the crest of my home county back in England. So I'm going to go with that one. I guess I'm going up against, depending on where the flag is, that's either Jeff United or Jep United, but I like the idea that it's Jeff United, so we're going to go with that. And yeah, no, I guess that's a 3DO controller, so I'm guessing it uses a 3-button prompt, but I'm really hoping the controller is not actually like diagonal setup like that, because that looks like a bad time. Is that Jeff? I think that is actually Jeff United. Okay, look at that. We've got, I mean, it's static images for the back of the crowd, but at the front of the crowd there, you've got a little bit of movement going on. It's pretty nice. Alright, so C looks to be shoot. I don't know if it's ABC or 1, 2, 3. I really should look up like some of these control configurations before I start trying to emulate them. But we're off to a flying start. Can't believe I'm going to lose to Jeff United. Alright, so what are we dealing here? So this is 94. So this is before Axyz Soccer. Obviously, like, one of the things I keep thinking about when I go back to, like, this early 3D era is, like, you just go back and look at Virtua Striker and what that looks like in 1994. Like, that must have blown people's minds. Alright, one of these buttons has got a slide tackle. Alright, okay, we'll figure that one out. I'll tell you one thing, the camera's actually not too bad. One of the issues I've been finding with quite a few of the early 3D games is that the camera is, like, insanely zoomed in. And sometimes you've got the option to actually to move the camera about, but sometimes you haven't got any options at all. And the problem I've obviously got is that this is a Japanese game, so I could potentially figure out what the camera options are. But whoa, hello, look at that. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So other than the fact that the AI is on my tail and actually getting the ball up the pitch is providing quite difficult. Very, very early impressions. I'm quietly impressed. The ambience, and this is one of the things you're kind of going to want to expect from, like, this early era, like the CD era of games, is you're kind of expecting the sound to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Because obviously, hey, we're on CD, we have more space to do all that kind of stuff. And, like, you've got the ambience of the noise, you've got the whatever instruments that they were using there. It all works out pretty well. I just can't get the ball. That was definitely not the direction I was looking for. Like, I'm having to pass super quick because, like, I can't keep the ball for more than a couple of seconds if they get onto me. That was always going to happen. Like, it definitely looks to be like a 3D space with 2D sprites. And then we even got a replay as well. Do you know what? This is not that bad. Not that bad. Definitely not the worst thing we're going to play. Don't even think it's going to be the worst thing we play today. Man. My defense is wide open, like Real Madrid last night. You gotta say this for EA Sports. Certainly in, like, the 90s, they didn't put their name to just about anything, you know? Like, a lot of those sports games are quality products. I played a lot of NHL, I think it was 93. I think it was NHL 93 or 94. And, I would still go and play that. I think, like, there's some proper rock-solid ice hockey games. And for the most part, I don't really feel like... Graphically, obviously, they're a lot different, but, you know, I really feel like there's a template that they've stuck with over time. Now, I haven't played a lot of NHL games over the years. But whenever I have a look at one... I can't outrun my opponent to get a clean shot on target. Like, they're on me. Come, get out of the pitch. Oh, okay, we have offsides. I'm not sure about that character design, but alright, we're using the red guy from fucking Cow and Chicken, why not? Come on, let's really hoof it up there. I guess one thing I do have to take into consideration that I've not really thought about too much is like the actual difficulty or the AI, and how lenient or forgiving. Now, in fairness, with some of these games, they've had the options and like what difficulty you want to play with, and sometimes I've dropped the difficulty. So I guess I can't do like a real fair evaluation with this. Excuse me. Look at that! Hell yeah! God, that might put it into the top 3 alone. You know what? That is what the latest FIFA games have been missing. I want a highlight reel of like Premier League spots. Like you could even do it off of you could even use like the YouTube highlights channel and just put in like, you know, top 10 goals from the halfway line or some bollocks like that. Like, look, just immediately on me. I can't get around them. And the passing is a bit loose, is the nice way I'll put it. Like sometimes, whoa, hello. Jesus, how many fucking options do you want to have, mate? Is that genuinely like what? Unless it's like all of the actual settings in the main menu, that is somewhat excessive. I don't think I'm getting my goal. I know that much. I have over the years tried to learn Japanese, with obviously varying degrees of failure. It comes with me in language in general. Like I spent 6 months in China, and I did a fairly decent job of getting up to not, I wouldn't say conversational English, but I could order myself for a coffee or get around if needed. And I'm very much one of those people, I have to be in the environment to learn. And I do think I'd actually pick up fairly quickly, enough to get by, you know, within 6 months. I feel like most people would, because, like, you know, no one else is going to teach you. But I can't use, like, Duolingo. Not that I'd want to, considering, like, the changes they made to using AI, and whatnot, but I can't just kind of sit there and just, like, tap on the screen and consume words that way. It just doesn't work with me. I have to be having a conversation with someone or just engaging with someone on a daily basis. But, you know, when I was younger, I toyed with the idea of moving to Japan. It's not happening now. So, like, actually learning Japanese probably, you know, probably isn't going to happen. And I guess, you know, if I was someone that watched anime on the regular, you know, I know that's kind of a way you can learn, by listening in Japanese and then... Oh! Alright, we got a couple of shots on target. Listening to Japanese and then using English subtitles, but for a start, I don't watch a lot of anime. So yeah, I'm handicapped across the board. So I can get the ball up the pitch fairly quickly, but I just... Oh! Striker! Yeah, damn right I want to see a replay of that. Absolute thunder bastard. Keeper was not expecting that. Just, that's all we're going to do now. Just blast them from 30 yards out, hope for the best. Like, tackling feels really clunky. You're just kind of like running into each other. And because the AI is just on your tail the whole time, it just kind of feels like the ball bounces back and forth between two players. And also shooting, like, I don't think there's any like actual kind of depth to the power in a shot. It's just you hold down the shot button, and regardless of how far out you are, the amount of power put into the shot is exactly the same. Which I guess in some ways is kind of fun, because it just means whether you're 5 yards out or 35 yards out, you're just going to absolutely canister it at the goal. Like, I did the slide tackle there, got the ball, but the opposing player was already back on the ball before I had a chance to get to it. Like, it's not ideal. Now, I don't know if that's to do with, like, the actual teams. Maybe the stats of my team are significantly less, but it doesn't really feel like there's a dedicated run button. So, unless there is, and, like, I'm pretty sure that controller doesn't have shoulder buttons. Jeff wins. Was that 6-1 in the end? Jesus. Come on, give me some more FMV at the end. Come on, come on. Oh, now this is one of the other things about, like, all right, FMV, thank you very much. Yeah, I know, right? It's rough, isn't it? Really emphasize that failure. Yeah, one of the things about the 3DO is, like, some of the fonts that we use, some of the text is really proper, like, Comic Sans janky. One of the things I don't really understand, though, about, like, Japanese games sometimes is, like, why there's English menus or English text and Japanese text. I'm sure there's someone that can explain it to me, but, like, why is this here in English when, like, in game it's in Japanese? That I've never understood why that sometimes is the case with Japanese games. Obviously, I can hit right to go down and not just kind of go left and right here, whatever. So, like, if I go into options, is this all going to be... Yeah, no, it's Japanese. I don't understand that at all. That's a jam. Alright, we'll leave it there for now, at least, anyway. Leave it there for now. Oh, J.League Virtual Stadium. So, I believe there is also a J.League Virtual Stadium 95 that we'll get to at some point when we come back to the 3DO. And there is FIFA International Soccer, which is the one... Although, to be honest, some of this also in, like, the intro also has some of the kind of F&B stuff that I was banging on about with the main menu. So we'll get to that at some point. But for now, J.League Virtual Stadium. And as much as I enjoy elements of the nature of the FMV in between, and I think the overall presentation is actually pretty solid, especially for 994. Like I think because they go with the 2D sprite, or it's almost like a 2.5D kind of approach to the sprites. I actually think the game looks better than Actual Soccer, which wouldn't come along until 96. Although I don't know if that was like the original version. Not sure. It's obviously not as good looking as Virtua Striker, but you know, this is a console game. But I do think large aspects of the actual gameplay are a bit unrefined. Though by no means like the worst thing I've ever played on a 3DO. So, you know, bar is set low, but you still got to go over the bar, and they have. So props to you. Extended Play Productions. So where do I put this thing? It's definitely not in the top 3. I don't think I can put it above FIFA 07. I don't really think I could put it against Actress Soccer, because I think out of the two, Actress Soccer would be the one that I'd actually prefer to play, though I do think J.League Soccer is a little bit better in terms of visual presentation. I feel like Konami Soccer is going to be the one that I keep coming back to, because again, because of the trying to view Konami Soccer through the context of when it came out, makes it really tough to judge, like, if a game is better or worse, because Konami Soccer, like, really technically it's not like that great as a game, but again, it's from 1985, and for the context of its time, or through like the lens of its time, it's actually not that bad. So I feel like some of this kind of comes down to how much stock do I want to put into the FMV stuff. And while that is a great gimmick, it is just that. It is just a gimmick. And I'm trying to do this with science. And gimmicks and science, they don't usually go hand in hand. So I think if I'm wearing my sensible trousers, I think I would put it below Konami Soccer. And I think I'll put it above Tengen World Cup Soccer. So yeah, I think I've made my decision. So bring you down and bring in J.League Virtual Stadium. Takes the 7th spot in our series of the beautiful gamepad here on the Lithium Project YouTube channel. So for those in the stream, please continue to watch and enjoy. For those watching the VOD, thank you very much for watching. Please give a like, please give a subscribe. And we're going to be back very shortly with Real Sports Soccer from 1983 for the Atari 2600. Stick around for that one.